Hey everyone, my name's Violet, and I'm a GM support console Overwatch player, and I want to help you get better at my favorite game. So in this video, I'm going to list some of my favorite tips and tricks on improving your support gameplay. Alright, now let's talk support. A lot of people seem to think that support just equals healer, and they think that having high healing means you're a great support. And support is not just about healing. You need to take advantage of the utility that you have to make amazing plays and really have impact on your games. But every game is not the same. Some games you will have tons of healing, like insane amounts. In some games, you might have an insane amount of elims or maybe even damage. It just depends. Every game is different, so you shouldn't try to approach every game with one mindset like, oh, this is how I'm gonna play, I'm gonna do this, because every game is different. You can never control what your teammates do unless you're in a stack. But if you're not, you can't control what they're going to do. You can't make them switch. You can't make them do anything they don't want to do. All you can do is change how you play and how you react to the situation in front of you. So what does it mean to get value? How do you get value as a support? And it just depends, It really just depends on your team comp. Who you play matters. Sometimes you can play literally anyone or anything and you can win. Some games are just like that. But sometimes knowing who to switch to is very helpful when your team is struggling during fights. So one of the things you want to just pay attention to is like who's your team dying a lot to, or if they're struggling against someone. Since the tank dynamic has switched from 2 tanks to now 1, you want to be more mindful of your positioning, especially if you're repositioning to heal someone that is out of your LOS. Very often you don't want to do that too much because sometimes you do have to let people die. Sometimes you can't heal everyone, so you trying to, quote, do the most can sometimes do the opposite of the effect you wanted or needed. Like flying in as Mercy to go rest someone or heal them. Like you fly in, all of a sudden you get headshot by the Widow or hooked by a hog or whatever the case may be. So just being mindful of where the enemy team is as well as where your team is, and if they'll be able to peel for you if you do need it. So just keep that in mind when it comes to taking 1v1s and whatnot. Have you ever been in a game and you're like, why isn't this person ulting? Have they ulted? Have you ever asked yourself in that game? Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that don't know when to ult, especially in support. Like knowing when to ult is learning how to read the flow of a fight, as well as keeping track of certain cooldowns and abilities. Sometimes you need to ult to help your team win a fight, and some ults are okay to, quote, throw away because they are fast building ults. So like a Window, a Mercy Valk, those aren't like the worst ults to like waste. Like Window is a really strong ult, but when it's used correctly. Same thing with a Nano. Like it's so easy to throw away an ult, but it's also very frustrating when your team loses a fight that you could have won had you pressed Y or Q or triangle. Don't be afraid to ult. Being aware of what cooldowns that your team has, like if they have a Mercy Res or something, like ulting before they can, or using them wisely and cycling through your ults is how you can win and turn the tides in a team fight. And also, stop saving your ult. Overwatch 2 is here. What are you waiting for? It's sometimes it's better to ult than to not have ulted at all. To kind of wrap this up, not every game will be fair. Some games aren't winnable because of matchmaking. And sometimes there might be games where the enemy team is just better. Maybe they have comms going, your team doesn't. Maybe you have a thrower. Every game is different. But there's still a lot that you can do to have impact in your role and in your games. Being able to switch to counter someone or being able to outplay them makes a difference in any role. Not relying on your teammates to switch and counter when there usually is someone that you can switch to that can even the odds when you are getting focused or if you're struggling against one person, or maybe you're just struggling in general. Maybe it's the map, maybe it's just an off game. Everything's different. Stop wasting your cooldowns. I feel like the biggest thing I see with BAP is a lot of people waste their regenerative burst, and you want to try to save that either for yourself, which should be your priority, or if your teammates are crit or you guys are about to take a lot of damage, like if you guys are about to get hit with like a Sigma ult or like maybe a Mora coalescence, like using that will help your team's longevity last. And also being aware of the clock. I can't tell you how many times like people just aren't aware of like how much time is left in that round or in that match. So be aware of that. Be aware of the clock. Be aware of your cooldowns and also the enemy team cooldowns. That will very much help you. Everything you do in this game should have some type of thought process behind it. Don't just react to what's happening to you. Try to think about it and process it. If you are, some things you do have to be on the fly and you have to make quick decisions, but sometimes you are afforded the luxury of thinking about it, as well as watching back your games. Watch the games back from the enemy team perspective so you can get some insight into what you maybe could have done better in order to get the result that you want. But don't worry, it's just a game. And sometimes if you want to play to have fun, you might take a couple L's. But if you want to play to win, you can play meta or you can play to improve. And when you play to improve, you do have to be okay with taking some L's. And even if you play meta, you do have to be prepared to take some L's. But that's just with any game. But don't get discouraged. Stay encouraged. It takes a lot of work to get up there. It takes a lot of knowledge too. And you can do it. I believe in you. See you next time. Bye.